Hello, my lovely witches, and Happy New Year. This is my first video for 2024. So today I'm going to be taking you through the Book of Shadows number 22, which I've just recently completed. But before I get started on that, I wanted to let you know about a new venture between myself and my friend Emily from Fern and Oak Art. We are doing a prompt series this year for the sabbats. Now, as you all know, I am a Southern Hemisphere witch who gets quite irritated when almost everything that we see on social media is targeted at Northern Hemisphere witches. And I reached out to my friend Emily and I said, hey Emily, how about we do one that encompasses both hemispheres? Let's do a prompt list for art witches or journaling witches or photography witches or anyone that just wants to get involved, any witch at all. And we have prompts that are for the Northern Hemisphere that you write, and we have prompts for the Southern Hemisphere that I write. And then maybe we also chuck in some sort of global prompts that would suit anyone wherever they are in the world. And she was like, brilliant idea, let's do it. So that is what we're doing. Launching today, the new moon is as above, so below. So that's what we're calling it because, you know, it's witchy and it encompasses the two different hemispheres. Clearly I'm down below and she is as above. So as I said, it's going to be a prompt list that we put the prompts up on Instagram. We will be having a prompt list for each sabbat. So for 8 sabbats this year, starting with the upcoming sabbat of Lunasa in the Southern Hemisphere, or Imbolc in the Northern Hemisphere, or Imbanasa, I think we're calling it. So we will have roughly 6 prompts for each hemisphere. So we'll have 3 that are generic and sort of just related to maybe astrological events or other things going on at this sort of time of year. And then we will have 3 prompts for the Northern Hemisphere that Em writes, and 3 prompts for the Southern Hemisphere that I write. You can choose to just do the 3 for your hemisphere. You can choose to just do the 3 global ones. You can choose to do the global ones and your hemisphere for 6, which is roughly going to be 1 a week. Or if you're really enthusiastic and you're really loving it, you can choose to do all 9. That is completely up to you. We welcome anyone. If you're not an artist or an art witch, that's okay. You could use these prompts as a jumping off point for some spell work or ritual. You could use these prompts as journal prompts to write about if you're a writing witch. You could use these prompts to take some photography of what's going on around you in your world. Whatever you want to do, you are only limited by your own imagination. Obviously, as an art witch, I'm going to be doing art, mostly in this lovely book here. This is a book that I bought ages ago and I've been wanting to use it, but I wanted it to be something special. And this seemed to be the right project. To be honest, I'm also doing my Grimoire 52 in the other side. But focusing on it as above, so below, I have done the very first prompt for the Southern Hemisphere already so that I can show you. And that is the Grain Mother. So this is my spread for the Grain Mother. Now, both Emily and I have decided that mostly we'll probably be working in some sort of art grimoire. That's our vibe. But both of us also want to sort of challenge ourselves to think outside of that and maybe do other art magic involved in this. I have some upcoming plans and I'll probably share them up on my Instagram when we're done for another of the prompts, which is one of the global prompts, and that is the Water Bearer, it being Aquarius season. So stay tuned for that one. I have some ideas that will probably not be going in an art grimoire, but doing something a little bit different. So there we go. That's it. I just wanted to invite you all to join us. You can do as much or as little as you like. Do it when you like, how you like. It's all up to you. It'll all be up there on my Instagram and Emily's, and I will link us both down below, as well as her YouTube channel as well. And yeah, come join us for As Above, So Below. Now, to get on with what this video is actually about, it is my most recently completed Book of Shadows. And as you can see, it's another sort of A4 size, which has been my preference, particularly as I do so much art magic these days in my book. However, because I'm doing my As Above, So Below and my Grimoire 52 in the book you've just seen, I've decided for my next Book of Shadows to actually make it an A5 size. So this is going to be my Book of Shadows, my next Book of Shadows. We will see how I like working in the smaller format. Sometimes I enjoy a smaller format, but I know in recent times for my Book of Shadows, I've preferred the bigger size. So stay tuned and I'll let you know how I go. Now, on to this. Book of Shadows number 22. So again, it's just a junk journal that I've made from the cover of this book of tales, which was quite cool. Obviously I gutted the book and I've used a lot of the imagery in that book for collage material. So this is my first page. This was actually sent to me by my friend Emily. Very cute little oracle card of the rooster and uniqueness. And this spread was from Donald Cran's Patreon last year in September. And it was about being rooted in the soil. And it was this sort of, I used coffee, but I think she used ink in her demonstration to make this sort of pattern using runs and drips that look like roots. And then I actually filled in between the roots the things that make me feel grounded. And I really, really enjoyed doing this. Yeah, it turned out nicely. I really love how it turned out, and I really liked going through and really focusing on those things that make me feel grounded. And we have Ostara. This was the Muses of Mystery ritual book for Ostara. And I had, oh, that was one of the inclusions in it. Inspiration card, which I really liked, which felt very Ostara-y. This envelope that I included here was actually made by Megan from Megan the Moon. And then we had, oh no, I broke it. This is what happens when you use vintage paper, guys. It's fragile. So that was the seeds that I planted that came in the kit. And I never did write in the things associated with my seeds. So now I will never know what they were, because I don't remember now. It's a shame that I broke that, but that's life. Anyway, we're growing some intentions. I just don't know now what they are. And this was the things that I did on the day. And then, we have a Grimoire 52 prompt, Surrender to the Deep. It's a nice mixed media piece. And, yeah, another Grimoire 52, Healing the Line. This was a really powerful piece for me. I really struggle with ancestor work because I feel quite angry with my ancestors for uprooting the family line from where we belonged in the UK and coming all the way to Australia, which is not where we belong. It can be really hard being of colonial stock, because you don't actually belong anywhere. People will tell you you don't have the right to use ancestral magic, for want of a better word, folklore, all of that sort of stuff, because you don't live in their country. Even though you, like, I'm Scottish by blood. I've had people tell me, well, you're not entitled to use the Scottish things because you're Australian. but I'm not entitled to use the native Australian things either. And that is absolutely 100% correct. Personally, I believe I am actually entitled to use those things that are ancestral by blood for me. And I think that most people would probably agree with you, but agree with me, rather. I'm waffling again, aren't I? Perhaps we'll just move on from this, but it was a really powerful statement, and I do want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I live, both current, former, and emerging. I got a bit heavy there. All right. This was my comfy, cozy, witchy for October. October was a fun month for me doing Springoween. So let's bring it back a little bit more lighthearted again. This, Through the Veil, was sort of inspired by that Springoween exploration. So this was another Grimoire 52 prompt. And I went with the sort of Fae veil rather than the veil through to the dead, which I think because of the time of year, it being this was around the October to November season. I think it was an October prompt. And I think probably Through the Veil is very traditional Samhain, the realm of the dead situation. But as we know, Beltane here in the Southern Hemisphere, and I did my Spoopy Spring, Halloween, Springoween vibe. So the realm of the Fae seemed a lot more appropriate and a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. Plumbing the Depths, another Grimoire 52. Didn't get anything on this page. This was my new moon in Libra intentions. And this was my comfy, cozy, witchy for November, which is really just an excuse. I did it on this page because it already had, this is from a fairy tale book, had some mushrooms, and it gave me an excuse to do lots of mushrooms because I'm still obsessed. The mushroom obsession has not relented. At least I'm consistent. Scorpio's obsessive. This was a Grimoire 52 prompt called The Catalyst. Oh, excuse me, I just need a glass of water. Sorry about that. So this was really looking at change for me, transformation, hence the butterfly moth imagery, the sort of cycle of birth, death, rebirth, the keys, the spiral. A lot of really, it might look like a page that's just had a whole bunch of stuff stuck on it, but although my pages often look like that, they're actually not. There's a lot of very strong symbolism that goes into these works. And some of it's intuitive, but some of it's very cerebral and very thought out. This is my full moon in Gemini spread, which I really love how this turned out. I have been experimenting lately trying to make sort of snowflakes from pretty coloured papers. I'm finding it harder than I'd like it to be because I don't remember it being as tough as this as a kid. Maybe we made simpler ones, I'm not sure. But it's really thick when you fold them up. So I'm still working through that, but that one I'm quite happy with. And I think it's a really lovely exploration of Gemini, that one. This is Sacred Dirt for Grimoire 52. And in this spread, this is actually an image of somewhere in Australia, and this is actually Scotland. So it's bringing together those two parts of my practice. So where I live, the land on which I reside, and my ancestral lands. This one is deepening the link, and I really felt With this one, it was deepening my link with both nature and the goddess. This is an article from an old witchcraft magazine. I'm starting to put these into my books so that I don't know, so that I preserve them, I suppose. This is about crone power, which obviously you can tell by my channel. Corrigan the crone. The crone is a really important figure for me at this point in my life. So this is a really interesting article. And it's, here we go, it's actually extracted from a book called Ritual, Myth and Magic for the Modern Moon Goddess by Spiral Dancer. I don't know if it's still in print. It'd be worth looking that up, I reckon. This was a protection spell, a pomegranate protection spell that I did. Oh, this, hands down, having now done the entire year, and I loved a lot of the prompts and a lot of the artworks I created, but this is hands down my favorite, Shedding Layers. It took me ages to work out what I was going to do with this prompt. I initially was a bit stumped, and I saw a whole lot of amazing art starting to come out from this prompt by other wonderful art witches out there, and suddenly I realized it was about shedding my skin. It was about that transformational process, and this beautiful snaky shedding its snaky skin was born. I love this spread. Absolutely love it. Neffy, your tail is in the way. Good girl. This one, Dream Library is the Grimoire 52 prompt, and I had literally just shared my video tour of my library where we're sitting at the moment, and a lovely friend of mine, Olga, said to me, "You already have a dream library." And I was like, you know what, you've got a point. So I took a photograph of my library and printed it out and stuck it in my book, and then added the other page. And then when I shared it on my Instagram, she turns around, she said, "That's really cool because your book is going to be in your library and your library is in your book." Whoa. Where does it end? I think that's so cool. So thank you, Olga. This was the Beltane Muses of Mystery information and what have you for the Sabbat box. Green Man illustration. I did this in 2022, and for a little while it was on the wall actually here in my library, which is where I originally had my my altar or shrine to the Green Man Horned God Kernanos hybrid. I think I've said this before, but in my mind, they're kind of all aspects of the same deity. So my shrine or altar to this deity incorporates imagery of those three sort of archetypes, if you like. Anyway, when I moved my shrine out of this room and back onto the top of my altar, I had to shrink it down significantly, and obviously didn't have the wall space for all of the artworks, so I decided to put my Green Man painting into the book. And then following on from that, this is about creating a magical garden space, which I'm trying and struggling. I have such brown thumbs, but I keep trying. This is another Grimoire 52 prompt called Starbright, and it reminded me of the nursery rhyme, Starlight, Starbright, wish upon a star tonight, what have you. And so this is my embodiment of a star. Next page is about my word of the year for 2024. So I don't know how much I've spoken about this in previous videos, but I'll go through it again. when I want to decide on my word of the year, I tend to pull a whole bunch of different tarot and oracle cards, sometimes some runes as well. And then once I've pulled those cards, I write down all the words sort of associated with the meanings for those cards, which I've done here. And then I look at those words and I see which ones are really speaking to me, and I come up with a short list. And this is my short list. Flow, mindfulness, reconnect, sovereignty, create, focus, and teach. And from that short list, one word nearly always jumps out as being the word. And it did. And this year it is flow. This was the full moon in Cancer. Little watery, emotional sort of spread here. This is actually the final prompt for Grimoire 52. It is closer to the front of my book because I don't work chronologically in my books, as you'll see. So you will see there's more Grimoire 52 prompts coming. But this was the final prompt, my own Wheel of the Year. And because I had created my big colour Wheel of the Year grimoire, I used those colours for the sabbats, and then I wrote down some journaling about things that were going on in my life at that time last year. And yeah, that was pretty much my spread. This was the Litha booklet. And then I have my Litha ritual, what I did. I did catch up with my brother for the solstice, but unfortunately, even though we had planned on catching up on the Friday the 22nd of December, things changed. We ended up catching up on the Saturday, so I had a very quiet day on the day. This was my wishes from a candle spell that I did from the Muses of Mystery Sabbat box. And then behind these two, or in these two envelopes, my cards with things from my traditional ritual that I do every year, which is write down the things that are going well, and I ask the goddess to bless them, and the things that need some assistance, and I ask the god for his assistance in those. Feeling Lunatic for Grimoire 52. I used my toad picture again because I just love him so much. And then we have my new moon in Sagittarius, intentions in here. This is a grounding forest ritual that came with a magical face serum that I bought from HerbalHiraeth. I really like her products, and I like the fact that she's a witch, so she makes really magic infused products, and she even includes things such as this, which is a ritual to do with such product. Little chart on numerology that I've had kicking around for a gazillion years and didn't really know where to put it, so I've stuck it in here. For me, because my eyesight's so bad, I require a magnifying glass to read the writing because it's so small. Anyway, at least it's got a home. This was my little exploration on seraphim, which I had a little moment in the last couple of months where they're just popping up in my feed, lots of people doing artwork on them. So this was my sort of exploration and representation of them. 30 lists for your prompt lists for your grimoire. That's just a Molly Roberts list. One of my pieces of paper in there. Take that out. It's a spell I'm not going to talk about. The Fairy Moon. This is actually a quote from Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare, and I sort of explored that in an illustrative way here. Again, trying to use my coloured pencils more in my book. This is a spell for joy and happiness to dispel the dark. And this was my comfy, cozy, witchy for December. And I'm slightly addicted to making these journaling cards. And I have a whole stash. So I'm thinking of popping them up in my Etsy as a sort of maybe a mystery bag. Well, not bag, but a mystery card that can be easily posted because they're quite thin. I don't know. We'll see if I get around to that. I might actually do a little video of sort of a flip almost of what I've been creating, and show you and see what you think. This is a lucky bag spell. That's what you need. And that's the ritual. And it's essentially to bring all sorts of things, protection and prosperity and health and love into your home, and you hang it above the door. It's just a very typical magic pouch kind of mojo bag, however it is in your tradition, however it's called in your tradition, little magic bag. This is a Grimoire 52 spread by candlelight. Now, that's some stuff you don't need to read about, and that's coming soon. My apologies. This, I don't know who to attribute this quote to, but I love it. Always be yourself. If you can't be yourself, be a unicorn. This is a spell for creativity and clarity, or more of a prayer, I suppose, for creativity and clarity. And I might go back and rewrite this up in my prayer book as well, which I haven't shared on the channel for a while, but if you go back far enough, you'll find it in one of my book videos. And this is my Sacred Vessel Spirit Doll for my word of the year for 2024, being flow. And that's a picture of it sitting in my altar, and these are the things that went into it and why. And then just a little bit of information about rabbit and hare associations. And that, my dears, is Book of Shadows 22. 22, goodness me. It's a lot, isn't it? And on to book 23 and all sorts of other amazing and new and exciting ventures for 2024. Yay! Thank you for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I really hope you guys join us for As Above, So Below and join in with some of our art prompts. I will try and be posting all of my pieces for each prompt up on Instagram, and you know, maybe do some seasonal flip throughs or something of the book on the channel. We'll see. But please join us, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye, my loves.